everyone, and welcome to the weekly Sulky show. It's bank holiday weekend, bit of a festival of racing here in Britain. We've got 4 harness race meetings to look forward to this bank holiday weekend. It's Breeders' Crown Night at Tir Prince on Saturday, 2 meetings on Sunday at opposite ends of the country. We're at Corby Wood and we're at Amman Valley. And then the show on bank holiday Monday this year doesn't go to Appleby, it goes to York. So some wonderful racing, lots to look forward to, really good classy and competitive racing over the 3 days, 4 race meetings, a bit of a summer bank holiday festival of racing. And on the Sulky show this week, I am joined by, ladies first, Vicky Gill. How are you, Vicky?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, and Mike Evans. How are you, Mike?
Hi, yeah, good. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Are you enjoying the holiday weather? I'm sure you two have been out and about during the course of the day with your string and doing all those mucky jobs in inclement conditions.
I think we've had rain every hour of the day today. It's been absolutely horrendous weather.
And what's it like, Bills?
Same really. It's August is a wet season down in Ceredigion, so.
Well, guys, what we've got to bear in mind, of old, this would have been the Tregaron weekend. And all you've got to do is look at the results from Tregaron over like 20, 30 years. And in most of the results, the going description reads soft or heavy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it is the Tregaron weekend, so traditionally wet. Listen, guys, we're looking forward to a really good weekend's racing. It all starts with the Breeders' Crown meeting at Tir Prince. And I know it's a busy weekend for your team, Vicky, with horses, quite a number of horses going to Tir Prince and York on Monday. Can we have a look at your runners? First of all, at Tir Prince. And you've got quite a big team going there, Breeders' Crown. Let's go through them. First of all, in the 2-year-old fillies, first division, you're sitting behind Oakwood Annabella, stable also represented by Green Tree Euphoria. First of all, Oakwood Annabella. I was mightily impressed with her the other week at York.
Yeah, she's a really nice filly. That was only her first race. We're drawn 6 tomorrow night. They're all going to be out to beat me, whatever. But she's very, very classy. So we'll just have to see how the race runs. You know, I'm going to have to step out a little bit, but we'll just have to see what happens on the night.
And what of the other runner? You've got Steve Lee sitting behind Green Tree Euphoria.
Yeah, she's a real game filly. She's not the best in the world, but she tries her heart every time she races. So hopefully she'll just pick up a bit of prize money for them.
And then the other division of the 2-year-old fillies, Breeders' Crown, you're sitting behind Rian Camden, who's just had a couple of starts so far.
Yeah, she hasn't been the easiest of fillies. She feels like she could do it. So hopefully tomorrow that she will put her best foot forward. She hasn't got the best of draws, drawn 5, and there's some good 2-year-olds out. These big races are so competitive. You just have to be very lucky to pick one up.
And then we're moving to the Colts, Vicky, looking at the 3-year-old Colts. You're sitting behind Which Guy Am I? And also representing the team, you've got Stateside Dude.
Yeah, 2 really nice horses. Which Guy Am I is super good out of the gate, so hopefully we'll get a good position with him. Unlucky for Dude, he's drawn 6, which is quite harsh with such good competitive field. Hopefully he'll run a fab race for us. Which Guy Am I is really fresh of himself, feeling really good. So fingers crossed. There's so many good horses in it. It's hard to choose which is going to be the winner. So hopefully I'll get a good trip with him with a good draw.
I was going to say, which one do you fear most of all? Would it be I'm a Happy Fella?
I'm a Happy Fella. Andrew Ladlers has been going good. Frisco Tex, he's been knocking on the door every race that he's had just lately. So it's going to be really difficult to choose who will win it.
And then Newtown Jody goes in the fillies and mares race for the 4-year-olds at the end of the evening. I mean, I've got to say, she was breathtaking at Tir Prince last week. Breathtaking.
Yeah, she was, and she felt as good as she looked. She was absolutely fabulous. And unlucky again, we've got drawn 6. We definitely didn't do well in the draws this week. There's some good horses in there, you know, like Anna Vive. You cannot take anything away from her, what she's done this year. And Loose Change is a tremendous mare too. So not Air Queen,
Lion's Queen.
Yeah, she's won some great races. So do you know, there's a really good field there, and I've got the worst draw, and every driver on that track is going to be out to beat me. So it isn't going to be easy.
But you've got a turbocharged filly. I mean, she has
100%. Yeah, she's absolutely fab. She's come out of the race brilliant from last week. She's on top form, so fingers crossed she'll do the business.
And would you say, of all your horses running for the stable tomorrow night, she's your best chance? Would you rate her as the best chance?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Well, but yeah, so the question would be is if there was an upset, which one would upset you most of all if it didn't win? It would be Newtown Jodie, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. She's a stable star. She is. She's the one that, and we were very hard done by last year in the Breeders' Crown final. I managed to lead out with her, and unfortunately got a punch around the first bend, and we got beat by half a length. So this is the one that we really want with her.
Okay, so a really good book of drives and horses representing the stable at the Breeders' Crown for John and Vicky Gill at Tir Prince tomorrow night. Really is a good card. 7 races to look forward to on Breeders' Crown night tomorrow. The meeting will be live streamed. First race is at 6:30, live streamed from 6:27. Wonderful races at Tir Prince on Saturday night. Now we're going to move on to Sunday. This is where I bring in Mike. There is racing at Corby Wood Sunday, folks. There is a good 5-race card at Corby Wood, and the first race there at Corby Wood this Sunday afternoon is at 2 o'clock. And at the other end of the country, we've got racing at Amman Valley. Traditionally, they race on August Bank. They used to race August Bank Holiday Monday. They race on Sunday. They've got a 7-race programme. First race again is at 2 o'clock. Mike, you're involved. You've got a couple of chances at Amman Valley on Sunday afternoon. First of all, your trotter, Enes Le Mans, goes in the 1.5-mile trot.
Yeah, so we've only got 2 races this weekend. We've only got 3 horses at the moment. Yeah, she's in good form, yeah. Inez Le Mans, she won here 2 weeks ago and came second in the Monte last week. Yeah, real happy with where she is right now. Because we had problems with her all last season and never quite got to the bottom of it. But she seems to have come over them. So, touch wood, it just keeps on going how she is. And then we'll try and take on some better ones one day.
And you'd be fearing Broadway to Borg, would you, in that race?
Yeah, it's a funny race because there's a handicap. Broadway's off 70. I think we're off 30. And you've got probably. I actually think Dream Vacation probably win today now, and he's disqualified 9 times out of 10. But he's on the gate on his own this time, so there's probably no reason for him to stress. He's probably. I expect him to win, actually. If he just goes away and, it could be mission impossible for the rest of us.
So basically, what you're saying is Dream Vacation trots, he'll take some beating.
Yeah. He can go just as quick as the rest of us. He just throws it away at the start. He's just, bad-mannered horse. But, yeah, hey, pressure's on Lee Morris now. If he gets this started, he's home and hosed.
And then turning attention to race 6 on the card, you're sitting behind Nancy Camden. What can you tell us about Nancy?
Yeah, new to me this year, but actually a mare I think quite a lot of now. Actually, looking back at her last 2 seasons, her best wins have been in Buckaroo twice. So probably the hard tracks this year aren't quite. That's probably not her absolute best conditions, but yeah, real good mare. I think a lot of her. we had her in the mares race last week, which in Tir Prince, even though I think she's going to get there in the end, she's going to be that type of mare, that kind of level. But it was just proved a step too soon. We just go back to basics now and try and get some form. But yeah, this isn't an easy race actually.
What would you be interested in away from?
Well, you got Michael Imani's mare there. He's not actually driving it himself. It's Finley Wells. Yeah, the owner's driving it. But Mark, from what I've seen, has been a good driver. So, you know, that shouldn't be any real disadvantage to her. She's, good mare. You've got then Joby Randalls with Ladyfoot Express. You know, that one in Tir Prince last month. So that's in good form as well. And that likes the lead in a strong one. Aussie won the top race here in Ammanford a couple of weeks ago. So actually, and so did Canewood. Julian Price's horse won the top race another couple of weeks ago there. So actually, they're all pretty level actually in that race.
Is there anything else you like on the card at Amman Valley? Anything we can be looking at?
The top race is that's an interesting race, I suppose. Is probably Colin Bevan's probably got the winner in that. I'd say he's off the front with Masquerade Avenue's been running pretty good, even though Paddy Connors with Wellfield Warlock, he's been doing, anytime Michael's been putting Paddy on Wellfield Warlock, it's been going good as well. But actually the track right now in Ammanford's been running very slow, and it's probably been favouring the front runners really. So in the big race every week, it's usually somebody on the gate who wins.
So we're looking forward to a 7-race card at Amman Valley on Sunday afternoon. Mike Evans will be there driving. First race there at 2:00. And then on Monday, starting at 4:25, we've got bank holiday racing at York. And back to you, Vicky. You've got 4 chances, I believe, on Monday afternoon. Starting in the first race at 4:25, the maiden and novice, with Oakwood Sweetheart.
Yeah, she's a really nice, sweet little filly. She's had really bad draws every time she's raced, and she's always finished quite well. So hopefully, as she's drawn 1 this week, we will have a better chance of either winning or getting a place. She tries her best every week, so fingers crossed for her.
And then Good Time Hal has got the draw in the novice place, race 3.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, we've only actually had 1 race with him, and we've had a few little issues with him. So hopefully, with a draw and a bit of luck, he will have quite a good chance. So we'll just have to see how the race runs for him.
Colford Tetrick runs in the 4th race. Just tell us about last week with Tetrick.
Oh well, I kind of planned that I'd lead out, and then that didn't happen, and I was stuck out. I was like, "Oh no, please, somebody let me in." Luckily, Patrick did let me in on Miraculous. In the previous races I've had with him, has always finished really well. So I knew I had to be back out. I managed to get tucked in for just under a quarter, and needed to be back out again because I knew that he'd finished really well. Round the bend, I still didn't actually think I'd won, but up the home stretch, he really did dig in and put his best foot forward for us. He's a lovely little horse. He's so nice to drive. He's an absolute pleasure to have. He's a stallion, and he never says a word. He's just really, really nice. So
he's acclimatised well, has he?
Oh yeah, he loves it. Yeah, loves the paddocks, loves the grass, loves his life. As long as he's fed, he's happy.
And what about his chances on Monday?
Oh, it's not an easy race. There's some Andrew Cairns has got one off the front, and that's got a good chance. James Haythornthwaite's got one in there. There's some decent horses, but a 1.25 miles will really suit Tetrick. So looking forward to the race.
Yeah, that's the 1.25 miles in lines, that race on Monday. That's race 4. And finally, your old friend Billy Wilt goes.
Yeah.
How's Billy Wilt getting on now? I mean, what goes on in his mind?
To be fair, we just didn't have him set up 100%. The owner had changed his harness from the year before, so his harness just wasn't set up just right. And since we've altered it, it's been absolutely 100%. So it wasn't the horse's fault. And it's been getting some awful draws. So he did run really good a couple of weeks ago in a 1.25 mile race. He went 2:30 for a 1.25 mile and finished third. So he's drawn 7 on Monday. Hopefully he'll be there or thereabouts at the end of the race.
Okay, Billy will race 8 on Monday. So York's card on Monday, also live stream, folks. 9 races starting at 4:25, going through until 7:25. So lots to look forward to this bank holiday weekend with those 4 race meetings and really classy racing to look forward to. Let me just remind you, we put it out today on the website and on social media that we at the BHRC are requesting that all our participants, owners, trainers, drivers, grooms, officials continue to adhere to the protocols, the COVID-19 protocols we set out earlier on in the year. And that includes racing at Tir Prince tomorrow night. Whilst there are members of the public permitted entry at Tir Prince, as we all know now, the license holders, owners, trainers, drivers, grooms, etc., are required to adhere to the protocols, the social distancing and the wearing of face coverings in the paddock, the lorry park and when out on the track. And also we've got a new regulation as well, or an updated regulation for the presentations on the course, that we are limiting it to no more than 5 people. So that's attendant, driver and 3 others. We're just trying to do our level best to adhere to protocols and various government guidelines. Now, guys, one of the hot topics, I've chatted to Mike O'Mahony recently about this on this show, and to other people about this. I think Grant Cullen had a few words about it, about the whip, use of the whip, and it's one of the hot topics in thoroughbred and harness racing. In harness racing, we know that in Norway they completely banned the whip, and it's something that we're going to be looking at, because there has been criticism over the last few months of some of the drivers and their use of the whip, and it's been highlighted that some of it is actually in the whip action, and it's something that you mentioned off air, Vicky, about whip action, etc. What's your take on the BHRC's current set of whip rules?
I always feel quite hard done by as being a woman driver. I cannot physically hit a horse as hard as what a man can do, and quite often I get done for misuse of the whip, always usually in the Wales and West racing. But I cannot physically draw back and hit a horse as hard as what a man can do. My horses never have marks on them when they come off after a race. So I find it quite hard, and I mean, a lot of horses don't actually need whipping hard, but there are the odd ones that do take the mickey a little bit, and you do need to just let them know who is boss. So it is quite difficult for me, and I do sit there and watch other people driving and think, how can they get away with that? And I always seem to be the one that gets fined for misuse of the whip. So yeah, it is a bit of a bugbear. But like a lot of good horses don't even need a whip. I mean, Titanium, you never touched it. If you touched him with a whip, he wouldn't go. So it's a difficult one. And it's difficult for the stewards as well, to try and keep an eye on it. But some people do misuse the whip, and I do think that does need stopping.
And Mike, I mentioned, I mean, obviously, you're well adverse in the world of trotting, and I mentioned about Norway. They banned the whip, I think, a few years ago now. What's your take on a complete whip ban and our regulations compared to elsewhere in the world?
Yes, I think they banned the whip in Norway in the 70s or the 80s. It's like, so you know, you've got generations of people there now have grown up without the whip. But you know, all the other Scandinavian countries are very keen on you know, the public perception of everything and not abusing animals. So I know in Sweden, it was wrist action only, and in between strikes, then you had to leave it 50 meters, and there was a maximum number of strikes as well. And just so in Sweden, they just streamlined. They didn't overcomplicate it. Then, if they wanted you to do you for misuse of the whip, you would just on the fines board at the end of the day. That was it. There was no inquiry. It didn't take time having to have a steward's inquiry just to go through and watch videos and see, oh, did he hit the horse or didn't he hit the horse? It was, they watch your hands. If you've moved your hands, so if it's not wrist action only, if you've lifted your hand up to hit the horse, you're just on the fine list at the end of the day. Like, they just streamline it. It'll make it a lot simpler how they actually fine the drivers as well. Because I suppose the stewards have a lot to do, and they don't want to be calling 5 people in for every race to look at their driving to see if we can, you know, do they need a whip ban for 14 days, 10 days, whatever. And like, it's always going to end up with a bit of, you know, almost an argument, because if I get 7 days and the guy next door to me gets 14 days, and then the other one to my right gets away with it, you know, it's the consistency about it then as well what really upsets people.
And you mentioned about whip bans. Do you really think that serves a purpose, banning a driver from using a whip in the race, when, you know, I've got most drivers say to me, I mean, I'm the odd one out here, I've never sat in a sulky, but most drivers say to me that you can't go out there without a whip. You need a whip for safety, for corrective measures, to implement corrective measures. Do you think that's the real answer, banning the whip? Do you think we should be looking at, like other countries, like thoroughbred racing, and suspending drivers for misuse of the whip?
Well, yeah, why not? Because I think John Campbell said in the World Trotting Conference, I don't know how many years ago it was, but I'm sure he said he would get behind the idea of going whipless for trotters, but he would never back the idea for going whipless for pacers, because it's needed for safety reasons. So then it makes no sense. It's counterproductive then to send a driver out there without a whip if they're saying that it has to be. If you have to have one for safety, don't take it away for them. So yeah, give them a holiday or bigger fines, or yes, but it contradicts itself. But I mean, there's a few rules we have what do that.
Just a few. Right. So, anything else you'd like to touch on, guys, while I've got you on the show?
No, I don't know. Don't think so.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, you've got the opportunity now, you know.
But does it go live?
This is going live. Yeah. All the sweat. Well, yeah.
If it was behind closed doors, we might have a bit more to say.
So, going back to your horses, your star horses, Vicky, Newtown Jody, Colford Tea-Trip, we spoke about them last week. Is it a case of, you know, you're perhaps aiming at the Crock of Gold with these two?
Yeah, I would think so. I would think both parties would probably want to go that way. Just have to see how the horses are coming out of these races. You know, like the races are coming quite thick and fast for them at the minute. The way they are at the minute, they both came out of Tir Prince last week absolutely fine. So touch wood, as long as everything stays the way they are, then yes, they will be aimed for that.
And how do you sum up the season so far, Vicky?
We've been a little bit steady with the wins, but we're picking up big races, and that's the main thing. Picking up these big stakes races, that's what we work all winter for. And that's what makes our lives easier. So yeah, we're doing okay. Yeah, things are going okay for us. I'll tell you better tomorrow night.
And Mike, you're doing some travelling this weekend.
Yeah, we seem to be going all over the place every weekend. We were at Tir Prince and York last weekend, and New Ammanford, and then up to York to do a bit of disqualification judges for the trots on Monday as well. So yeah, we get around a bit. You get around a bit, yeah.
Okay, Mike, I've got a question for Mike.
Why did you mention
Going on
that?
about disqualifications.
Yeah.
Okay, have you had? I drove a trotter in the ladies' race, and you disqualified me for not pulling out, and I had a horse at the outside of me. How do you get about that one then?
She was disqualified for not losing ground.
For not losing ground.
Yeah.
Right, because I didn't even gallop for 11 yards, for 11 strides. 11 strides she galloped for, and you've got 15, haven't you?
Yeah, but up until the limits, you've got the BHSE rules are still in place. So when you're in a gallop, you have to lose ground.
Right, I was taking back. I wasn't like letting her gallop on. I was taking back.
No, but because you're in the start car and you're starting with 5 level horses, and then by the time she stopped galloping, she was in second, so she gained ground on 3 of them.
Right, and then the other 3 horses didn't take back then.
No, but she needs to lose ground to everybody she started level with, didn't she?
Right. All right. Okay. Have you had Joe Quinn on about this then? Because he's been going absolutely berserk, hasn't he?
I spoke to Joe on Monday morning. Joe was at
right. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know because I thought it was because I hadn't pulled out, but like obviously I couldn't pull out when I've got a horse up beside of me.
No, you can't. Obviously, if there's no space, you can't pull out if there's somebody there.
Yeah. Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
Mike, it's in a way it's difficult to compare. Well, it is difficult to compare our racing to France because their tracks are bigger, wider, whereas we haven't got the scope on our tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the pulling out thing is obviously if you haven't got space, you can't pull out. So obviously Vicky couldn't pull out at where she was, but you can't. If you're galloping, you can't gain an advantage over somebody else. And it's just happened that it was behind the start gate. So, she was level with the 4 other horses. So to lose ground to the other 4, she needed to be behind them all after the gallop. Okay.
Right. So Vicky will meet you again at York on Monday, Mike, for another grilling.
Yeah.
You're a good sport, Mike.
That's okay.
And actually, we do really appreciate you and Will coming up to York on Monday to officiate on the trotting races as well. Vicky, you've got a lovely team to go racing with this weekend. Wish you all the very best this weekend.
Thank you.
And Mike, wish you all the very best. You've got a couple of nice drives at Ammon Valley on Sunday, and good luck with the judging on Monday. And Mike, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Darren.
Yeah, Vicky Gill and Mike Evans joining us on the Sulky Show this week. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the weekend's racing.